Okay, so what I'm going to show you guys now is how to do the statistical analysis for Lab 1. So I'll share my screen here. All right, so here is the Google Sheet as it currently stands. I counted, 25 people so far have submitted their data. And so I'm going to go ahead and analyze the data with these 25 people. There will be more people turning in the data later. And it will change the output in SPSS a little bit, though it's probably not going to change a lot. So what I'll be looking for in your output, which you'll eventually submit, is I'll verify that you performed the correct analysis, and that things like the sample size are correct. So you should have at least 25 participants when you analyze the means. If you wait a couple days before you do it, there'll probably be more people who have entered their data into the Google spreadsheet, and so the sample size will be bigger. So I'll be looking to make sure that you have at least 25 participants in your analysis, and that you performed the correct analysis, and that your output is in the right ballpark of what we should be getting. So the first thing, my SPSS is already open. There's the data view. We going to go straight to the variable view and write a couple conditions. So the first condition is incongruent. The second condition is congruent. That's in the variable view right there. Then we're going to go back to the data view. So it's the variable view where we wrote incongruent and congruent. The data view is still blank, but now you can see that the words incongruent and congruent appear in these headings at the top of these two columns. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to our Google Sheet and highlight everything here in our two columns. Highlight all the numbers. Please note that I'm not copying and pasting incongruent and incongruent because those words are already in SPSS. In Google Drive, you can't use shortcuts for whatever reason, or at least it doesn't always work well. So you can go to edit and then copy, and then that should be copied now. And then go to your SPSS, and then you can use shortcuts here. You don't have to, though. You can also go to edit, but we're going to paste right there. And you'll notice the spaces are still there. That doesn't appear to matter. So those are our data. And now we are going to perform the correct statistical analyses. And there are actually two statistical analyses that we can perform that'll both give us the same p-value, the same decision whether to accept or reject the null hypothesis. And if we think about this, in this experiment, all participants were exposed to both the incongruent and congruent conditions. So all participants were in both conditions. Therefore, this is a within subjects factor. There's only one factor. I call this factor congruency. The two levels are incongruent and congruent. So we have one within subjects factor with two levels, which means that we can do a within subjects t-test, but we can also do a one-way repeated measures ANOVA, and I'm going to show you how to do both of those in SPSS right now. First thing, I'll show you a little bit of a cheating, is you can actually do t-tests in SPSS, or I'm sorry, in Excel and in Google Drive. And if you take a look right here, that's the syntax, that's the formula for how you do it. If anyone wants to know how to do that, I would be happy to explain it. You can also Google it. But right here, this number that it is outputted, that is the p-value of the t-test. So I already ran a t-test on your guys' data from the Stroop this morning. And according to Excel, the p-value for that t-test is 0.00001 around the 3. So 0.00013. I'm rounding that 2 up to a 3, which very significant difference, such that people's reaction times in the incongruent condition are slower. They're longer reaction times compared to the congruent condition, which is the classic Stroop effect. So we clearly have replicated it. But I want us to also, this is what Excel says the p-value is, but I want to use SPSS to verify it. And so the data should already be copied and pasted into here. So first thing we're going to do is the within subjects t-test, analyze, compare means, paired samples t-test is the same as within subjects t-test. Click on that. You move incongruent into variable 1, and congruent into variable 2, and you press OK, and that's it. So all you need to take a screenshot of, if you do the within subjects t-test, the thing that I'm going to need a screenshot of is this box right here. That has everything that I need. The degrees of freedom tells me, it says degrees of freedom is 24. That indicates that there were 25 participants, because degree of freedom for this hypothesis test is n minus 1, the sample size minus 1. So if you do the within subjects t-test, that's all I need. That gives me everything. By the way, we'll click on the p-value. This is the p-value for this t-test. Double click on it, and click on it again. It allows us to see the details. And if you can see that right there, allow me to move my mouse. It won't allow me to move my mouse. But if you see that, the p-value is 0.00013, which is the exact same p-value that Excel told us when I did that little t-test shortcut in Excel. So once again, we're finding consistency here. The p-values of the within subject t-test and SPSS are the same as the p-value is given in Excel. Very significant effect. We would reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so now let's close this. Now I want to do the other hypothesis test, which would give us the exact same answer. We'll do analyze. So this is now I'm going to do the one-way repeated measures ANOVA, which also works here because we have one factor. So let's see. For this one, we do general linear model, and we have to click repeated measures. We have to name a factor. So this is congruency. And it has two levels, incongruent and congruent. And you add those, then you click define. And I like to do the options for this one just so I can see means, the descriptive statistics. Then I'll press continue. And then, oh, we got to move these things, move incongruent into 1, move congruent into 2, incongruent, congruent, and press OK. And there we have it. Check something out real quick. Yep. 718, 670. Let's go back here. You can see 718, 670. So the means, the SPSS calculator are the exact same of the means that were calculated in the Google Sheet. And you can see the sample size 25. Let's look at the output here. We'll skip the multivariate test. We click the test of sphericity. What we care about is test of within subjects effects. This is what I would want a screenshot of. Once again, I see the degrees of freedom right here. 24 tells me that there are 25 participants. So this is all you need to take a screenshot of right here. You might even be able to just literally copy and paste it into your Excel. I'm going to try that. But first, I want to double click on the p-value right here. So you're going to use the sphericity assumed, even though they'll all give you the same p-value here. Double click on that. And then once again, we see that same p-value, 0.00013. You get the same p-value whether you do the within subjects t-test or whether you do the one-way repeated measures ANOVA. Gives you the exact same p-value, therefore the exact same decision, which in this case is to reject the null hypothesis. We conclude that there is a significant effect. Looking at the assignment for today, what I want you to do, I showed you this in class, in the labs today, and in the previous video. So your instructions for this lab for part 1, there are 2 parts to most labs. For this part, you're going to turn in 1 Excel file for each person in your group. If you're working alone, you still turn in 1 Excel file. You'll have 1 tab for the data of each participant, each member of your group. And that each tab for that participant is going to have the reaction time data that you imported. And it's also going to have the survey data, which you copied and pasted. Then there will be an additional tab, which is what I'm going to show you now, which is going to have the screenshot or the copy and pasting of your SPSS output. So first I'm going to try copy and paste, or just copy and pasting it. So let's just take this. Gotta close this one out. There we go. Okay, it's copied. Let's see if it'll allow me to paste it. So That's my data, Dr. Rosenthal. There's my reaction time. That's my survey right there. There's my reaction time data. I'll create a new tab, a new sheet, and let's see what happens up there. Yep, I don't actually like that. I prefer the screenshot. So what I'm going to do instead is, there's that. Took the picture. Edit this down. That's better. We'll call this Lab1 SPSS output pick. It's on my desktop. And then now I'm going to import that file. Insert, rather, a picture from file. It is on my desktop. It's called Lab1 something or other. Let's find that. Lab1 SPSS output pick, insert. And there it is, right there. That's the pick. And then I'll write my name right here, Matt Rosenthal, and my group members are Billy Joe Armstrong, that's the lead singer of Green Day, and George Brett. Those are my group members. So this is kind of what yours should look like. Though if I had these group members, I only have a tab right here for myself. If Billy Joe and George Brett were really in my lab, I would have 2 more sheets, one with each of their data. The reason I showed you this, I just want to see where I would like to see your guys' names on the Excel sheet. Would be helpful if they were right there. That'll make us so we can grade these faster. Okay, so I think that's probably enough. If you have questions, definitely feel free to email me today or over the weekend when we can Zoom. I can help you out with the analysis. If you're having technical problems with your Citrix viewer, my suggestion is to contact KU IT.